Hello my friends, hello dear Bitcoin enthusiasts, welcome back to Bitcoin Guru. I hope you guys are having an extraordinary Friday, you've had an extraordinary week, and I hope this will make you have an even better day after I share this with you. Quite a lot of things that I wanted to get across, and if you've been a follower of this channel, you know how I feel about information and what my view is on that topic. Knowledge is power. Every time that I make a video or I share something with you guys, I want you to be more powerful, more knowledgeable, more prepared, and of course more ahead of the curve. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look. The first topic in the Bitcoin Guru's news edition today is going to be a 1999 prediction, and it's pretty interesting. Almost 20 years ago, Milton Friedman predicted an event that is very much relevant to the current society that we live in. Let's take a look. Now, if you don't know who Milton Friedman is, he was an American economist who received the 1976 Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences for his research on consumption analysis. A bunch of fancy words, a bunch of awesome descriptions of pretty much him knowing what he's talking about, and that is why I want to share it with you. Let's take a look.
All of government. The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash, a method whereby on the internet you can transfer funds from A to B without A knowing B or B knowing A. The way in which I can take a $20 bill and hand it over to you, and there's no record of where it came from. And you may get that without knowing who I am. That kind of thing will develop on the internet, and that will make it even easier for people to use the internet.
Yep, back in 1999. Now keep in mind, that was 10 years before the introduction of Bitcoin. A decade before that he predicted that we will be able to transfer funds from point A to point B anonymously. He didn't say anonymously, but he said without A knowing who B is, and without B knowing who A is, and how it got from point A to point B. Now, the thing is, the title says Milton Friedman predicts Bitcoin in 1999, but I beg to differ. I would go as far as saying he actually predicted the nature of Bitcoin. Because with Bitcoin having a public ledger, everything is on the books. You know everything. I know how much you paid for your milk. I know how much you paid your employees. And matter of fact, if I'm a person with malicious intent and I know that you're rich, I can actually find out exactly how much money I can let's say rob you for. There's been plenty of cases where people get robbed for their USB flash drive and their Bitcoin addresses because it's known that they have a lot of it. Well, nobody knows about your Bitcoin balance, and that gentleman predicted that now 20 years ago. So an amazing, profound prediction that absolutely is relevant to today's situations and events. I will leave that to you to decide which currency he was talking about in particular. But great minds think alike, and 1999, an American economist who received the Nobel Memorial Prize knew that there was going to be an e-cash that will give you financial freedom. Now, I want to talk about the inevitable. There are some things that will happen that will be forced, and there are some things that will happen naturally with time. The natural process of awareness will overshadow current perspectives and beliefs. That is 1,000%. I want to remind you that people back in the day with certainty would tell you that the earth was flat. People back in the day would tell you that the solar system was a geocentric solar system where everything revolved around the earth. And they would kill and set on fire any human that said such blasphemy as that the sun is the center of the solar system. So truths are so relevant, I guess, because people can tell you stuff with a straight face and you never know. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about that. The first thing that I wanted to mention is the inevitable. When you invent a wheel, ultimately you will have a bike, and that bike will have, sure thing, 2 wheels. And then technology will advance, and then people will find a better way to use that wheel and ultimately create a car. And then literally it will be a completely different innovation, and then we'll start flying. But there is a sort of progression, just like means of exchange. Initially we had sticks and stones, then we had gold because people realized that it's not easily accessible. So they started trading gold. They're like, man, it's so heavy. Why would I carry this when I can just carry a paper that certifies that I have it? A bunch of fuckery happened afterwards that I do not want to get into. But ultimately we have credit cards. A piece of plastic that you can just slide into a machine, and somehow it just gives resources. And now we are at the stage of digital money, which is a completely different ball game. So, what am I trying to get at? My dear friends, I'm absolutely certain, 1,000,000,000%, that once cryptocurrencies hits mainstream and people really start to use cryptocurrency, people are gonna realize that Bitcoin is not private. I can totally imagine somebody saying, wait, what do you mean you know how much I have in my wallet? What do you mean you know how much my life savings are? What do you mean you know who I paid for what service yesterday or 2 weeks ago? Yes, sir, buddy. Your pseudo-anonymous cryptocurrency will be nothing in comparison to a true, absolutely anonymous, by nature cryptocurrency. So ultimately people are going to start to narrow down the possibilities for the best currency with the best features. Why would you invest in a Bitcoin that is absolutely public? Now keep in mind, we need Bitcoin. We need Bitcoin for governments so we know where our taxes are going. But I don't need Bitcoin. I want to be financially free and independent. I want to make sure that my financial business is my financial business and whoever is on the other side of the receiving end. Not everybody else. So ultimately people are gonna steer towards the thing that makes sense. Now yes, when Bitcoin hits $1 million, and I guarantee you that will happen due to supply and demand, people are gonna be like, wait, what is this thing Bitcoin? It's only $100 a pop? I think that makes more sense than $1 million public ledger, they know everything about me currency. So the inevitable will happen, and it's only a matter of time. Just the same way that Bitcoin ultimately became a public currency, because before it was only on the dark web. It was like-minded individuals, people that knew what they wanted in a financial exchange or in a transaction, they wanted to have privacy. They knew that they didn't want everybody in their business. So they used Bitcoin as a pseudo-anonymous way to transfer funds. And at that time, the government didn't know about it. Or did they? So, and now Bitcoin is starting to become mainstream. Well, there are a couple of other projects that I can think of that are kind of going through the same thing right now. That ultimately, now they're looked over and completely ignored and will be absolutely sought after in about 300, 700 days. Maybe 1,000 days. Okay? Have 1,000 moons go by and I'm telling you, things will change. So the inevitable, my friends, will be the inevitable. I promise. Now, I want to talk about the Bitcoin community. Because a currency is no good without its users. Okay? Are you invested in anything? Anything. Are you invested in a job? Are you invested in a family? Are you invested in a hobby? What are you invested in? Because most likely, if you are invested in something, you are investing your time. And you cannot put an amount to time. You cannot. Okay? And ultimately, of course, you'll be investing your resources. If you're doing so, if you're investing your time, ultimately, aka your life, then your heart and mind needs to be in it as well. It's kind of boring seeing people just scream to the moon and just throwing more money in it, not knowing how to throw money, and then getting upset when the market goes the other way. It's not about just complaining about the prices decreasing, because this will only feed the ish talkers, I promise. And most likely those what used to be great loyal investors and supporters will become the ish talkers. Why? Because they themselves would lose track of what they are looking for. If you're invested in a currency and you know how stocks work, you ought to understand and you ought to see that you're playing a much bigger part in the community. It's not about just hyping things up. It's about reading. It's about doing your due diligence. I see so many people on a chat asking if the hard fork is going to be a positive change for Bitcoin. I saw that. I could not believe my eyes. And then right afterwards, somebody replied and said, no, absolutely not. It will not be a good thing for Bitcoin. And now you tell me, if you're a brand new investor and you're going into what you think is a reliable chat and you see, is the hard fork worth it? And somebody says, no, it's absolute bull. And then somebody's like, yeah, it's absolute bull. Boo. Price going down. Boo. Somebody who doesn't know anything, even less than them, would be like, skirt. Nope, I'm not going to invest into this. I'm not going to invest my hard-earned money into this. Now, I'm not going to... I don't want to let that type of thing pass by, but being involved in... I don't know if you guys heard the great news. I recently joined forces with the Bitcoin Foundation team in order to make Bitcoin a more reliable and more trustworthy cryptocurrency. And seeing how many people talk negative about Bitcoin is insane. You know what? Now that I want to show you something, guys. Give me 1 second. Today is just going to be a sharing of little short clips. Take a look at this, my friends. Take a look. Take a look.
For annoying as Bill Maher is, he once in a while gets it right, and I wouldn't have expected him to say anything other than this, but boy, his audience certainly expected something different, and so did Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. Listen to this on First Amendment rights.
Because Alex Jones, who is not my friend and who tells crazy lies about me, is thrown off Twitter, I think, and Facebook and a few other platforms. I think he's going to...
Thank God!
That's Senator Gillibrand,
well,
thank God.
If you're a liberal, you're supposed to be for free speech. That's free speech for the speech you hate. That's what free speech means. We're losing the thread of the concepts that are important to this country. If you care about the real American or you don't. And if you do, it goes for every side. I don't like Alex Jones, but Alex Jones gets to speak. Everybody gets to speak.
Did you hear the sheeple in that audience, who most of them were most likely liberal, wanting liberties? And they're clapping for someone getting almost completely thrown out of the internet. The major platforms that pretty much rule the clear internet. And people are clapping for it. These sheeple are just going through motions, regurgitating opinions. And this is what most people who talk negative about Bitcoin are doing. How on earth could you talk smack about privacy? I'm sorry, people are not Have you heard anything regarding Facebook, Apple, and just the internet in general, and the privacy concerns? Have you heard about Alexa? Have you heard about Samsung? Have you heard about Snowden? Have you heard about the NSA? Is anybody paying attention to what's really going on? Bitcoin should be $1 million a pop because of the very anonymous and private nature that it has, the type of freedom that it provides for people. And people are talking smack about Bitcoin? I'm sorry, I get very, very involved. I get very passionate when it comes to freedoms, and when I see freedoms being taken away, I cannot stand it. Anyways, this was just to show you that there are adults that are probably 3 times my age that are willing to give up not only their rights away, but the rights of everybody else, all in one swoop. Anyways, on to the next, my friends. I just want to let you know you're a big part of this. And if you want to know more about your currency and the things that you invest in, do your research. Read the blogs, read the website. Do your research. Compare apples to apples. See what kind of things you believe in, and see what else out there fits with what you believe in. But for people to just go and just talk negative just to talk negative, just because they're salty about making the wrong investment decision or whatever it is not fair to the rest of the community. And I don't know how a fellow human can do this to another fellow human in times of need. I love you guys and I want the best for you, and this is why I do this. This is why I share what I share. And just to end this with a fun fact, because I talk about doing your due diligence, I talk about knowledge is power. I'm very much against fake news. So let me show you this fun fact. I'm not going to show you the whole video. I'm just going to show you a snippet. A snippet long enough to hopefully intrigue every single person. TED Talks. You should get hip.
Look at these images. Now tell me which Obama here is real.
To help families refinance their homes, to invest in things like high-tech manufacturing,
clean energy, and the infrastructure that creates good new jobs?
Anyone? The answer is none of them. None of these is actually real. So let me tell you how we got here. My inspiration for this work was a project meant to preserve our last chance for learning about Holocaust from the survivors. It's called New Dimensions in Testimony, and it allows you to have interactive conversations with a hologram of a real Holocaust survivor. How did you survive the Holocaust?
How did I survive? I survived, I believe, because Providence watched over me.
Turns out these answers were pre-recorded in a studio.
So, did you just see that? I wanted to go as far as showing you the hologram to show you the gentleman's project, which was I think it was a private project that he was inspired to create because of his interest in Holocaust survivors. This is one gentleman without the funds of some of the wealthiest governments in the world. You think he has this technology and our government officials are saying, hey, no, I don't need that. With this, I want to tell you that you cannot believe anything you watch. Any news, any shows, any podcasts, they can mimic the voice of anybody. They can imitate anybody's face. And you might be watching just a computer. This is how real the misinformation agenda is. So make sure you do your due diligence, please. And even when you do, use your head, use your common sense, and don't take everything to heart. Take everything with a grain of salt and see if it makes sense. See if it connects. This is to show you, my friends, that in this day and age, the things that are told to us might not be the things that are good for us. The people who say that they're the legitimate source might not be the legitimate source. So when people talk smack, definitely fact check them, okay? Because, man, none of these Obamas were real. And I could have sworn the top right was. Regardless, my dear friends, this was a long enough video. And its whole purpose is information, knowledge, awareness. Understand what you're dealing with. One thing that I can say about the Bitcoin community, it is definitely much smaller than Bitcoin, I think. I'm not surprised because most people don't have common sense, because common sense is not common. So the Bitcoin users, the real Bitcoin users, are the people who know exactly why Bitcoin is 1 billion times better than Bitcoin. And just because the price has gone down does not mean that the value has gone down. Anyways, thank you so much, guys, for visiting. If you guys have any questions, if you want to see things in particular, do let me know. As far as prices and graphs, what more can I say? The cryptocurrency is less than half a penny. When you're comparing it to something that is not even comparable as far as security features and privacy features, and it costs $6,000-$7,000, and you have something that is absolutely private and anonymous and it's half a penny, no comment. I'll let you decide. You guys are the best. Much love. This is BytecoinGuru, and I'm always here for you guys. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you on the next one.